Hello, I'm Chase Rose, Associate Wealth Advisor here at Hixon Zuercher Capital Management.
And I'm Jordan Shaw, Wealth Advisor here at Hixon Zuercher Capital Management, and we are here to give you a market and economic update for the month of March, looking back over the month of February. So what's been going on, Jay?
Yeah, the month of love was not so lovely to the U.S. stock market. The S&P 500 was down 0.6%, Dow Jones down 1.1%, NASDAQ, more growth-oriented, down 2.7%. So certainly the growth side of the market led the downtrend. And also small caps with some recessionary fears were also down pretty significantly, down 4.1%. Whereas international stocks, developed international up 3.5%, and emerging market stocks up 2.3%. So outside of the U.S., actually pretty solid performance for one single month. And then last but not least, bonds actually pulling the weight of a balanced portfolio, up 2.1%, with some expectations for rates coming down slightly in the future. Definitely helped the bond prices appreciate ever so slightly. So have some more thoughts on why those numbers are what they are coming up soon, but that is the performance for the month of February.
Yeah, so down a little bit, an okay start to the year, but another organization that was down was Kansas City Chiefs for the Super Bowl. For those who don't know, they lost to the wonderful Philadelphia Eagles. So back where I'm from, there's a lot of people who were probably excited about that. The Eagles claimed the title of the Super Bowl 59 champions against the Chiefs, 40-22. Go Eagles.
Philadelphia lost Jordan Shaw and gained a Super Bowl.
That is true.
All right. So getting back to the stock side of our monthly news video, as a lot of you might know, if you follow our monthly market videos, as I'm sure so many people do, the Mag 7 or Magnificent 7, as they're known, the largest 7 companies in the S&P 500 have really been driving stock performance, or U.S. stock performance over the last few years or so. And really, those stocks are on they're on great trajectories, great growth over the last couple of years. But at this point, their earnings, their forward guidance that they're making public in their earnings reports, starting to loosen up a little bit, which, as we know, the Magnificent 7 makes up a very large part of the S&P 500 index. And so non-optimal performance in those 7 singular stocks can definitely have a negative impact, which it did over the last month. Companies like NASDAQ, who they're beating their earnings expectations, but they're kind of loosening up their forward expectations, is sending the stock down as much as 8, 9, even 10% in a single day. So that's definitely the nature of what we're seeing moving forward. Those Mag 7 stocks are starting to ever so slightly fall apart a little bit.
Can only be magnificent for so long.
You're very right about that. Yeah.
Right, and then people start expecting it. Oh, well. Speaking of magnificence, I'm killing the segues today. Gene Hackman. I'm a big movie guy, so I looked over the month of February to see if we lost any good actors or directors. Gene Hackman was 95. We lost him to heart disease, but he was best known for his role in The French Connection, which came out in 1970, so I did not see it. I know him as Lex Luthor from the Superman movies that came out still 2 decades ago. Oh, well. But he has over 100 titles credited to him as an actor, but he's no longer with us. So if you're a Gene Hackman fan, no more movies coming out in the future.
Yeah. We oftentimes plan our retirement plans to age 95, so it makes me feel good that planning age is what we're using.
Hopefully his retirement planner was using the same.
Yeah, I agree. They were spot on with that. All right. So getting back to the stock side of things. So as I'm sure many of you know, the nature of just the general economic environment over the last few months has really been driven by tariffs. And so if you're paying attention to the news, you're very aware that oftentimes we're getting these tariff announcements and then those proposed tariffs are being retracted and so on and so forth. It's a negotiating tool that the government and the president uses with these other countries. And really what we're seeing with that is we're getting this news and this information live. So whenever these announcements are made, the stocks are reacting in real time. which has actually increased what's known as the VIX index, which essentially tracks the volatility of the stock market in both directions. It could go positive or it could go negative. But the volatility is actually up 56% year to date. So we're definitely seeing an increase in movement, whether that's positive or negative. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Definitely something to lean on your portfolio managers during times like this, because it is getting a little choppy out there.
Yeah. Proposed tariffs, not real tariff. But speaking of proposals, Valentine's Day, some data there. Again, with the segues, crushing it. Valentine's Day spending this year hit an all-time high at $27.5 billion with a B, averaging per person, I think nationally this is $188.81. So if you spent more than that, you're above the average. If you spend less, then I'm right at the average, 188 and 81. That's exactly.
He's got 3 girls in the house to buy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, lots of.
You're really driving up the averages around here.
I am. Yep.
I got 2 dogs at home. I'm not getting them any Valentine's Day.
Yeah, poor dogs.
I know.
No Valentine's Day.
No Valentine's Day. All right. Back to the economic side of things. So the jobs report for the month of February that actually came out in March was ever so slightly weak. So unemployment ticked up. I mentioned earlier that bond prices actually had a pretty decent month in February. Really what drove that was some of the economic data kind of led forward expectations to be a little more optimistic on rate cuts. So when the market starts pricing in more rate cuts, so as as interest rates come down, bond prices go up. So that's some action we definitely saw in February, with bonds being up 2.1%. Something to keep an eye on moving forward is some of those those economic reports, such as the jobs report. We're starting to have some cracks in the economy, but definitely no breaks yet. We have these reports. They're up and down all the time. So definitely not anything we're waving any yellow or red flags on just yet. But definitely something that we are keeping an eye on.
Just keeping a pulse.
Absolutely.
Seeing what's going on. Yep. It's always helpful to be informed. If you have any pet cats, avoid South Holland, England. I have no segue for this one. It's just too weird. Apparently there's somebody going around kidnapping cats, shaving them, and then returning them to the home that they were taken from. So if that's your thing, find the guy and see where all his cat hair is going. I don't know. That's I really don't have anything more to add to that.
And that's really unfortunate, because my personal opinion, naked, hairless cats are disgusting.
Yeah.
I would agree. There's nothing. Not very. They need a lot of love. If you have hairless cats, I apologize, but they're not very.
They're definitely not getting any Valentine's Day gifts from Chase.
They're not. Yeah, that guy needs a real job.
Yep.
But there are less jobs now than there was a month ago.
I guess. Maybe he's selling cat hair to make up for it.
Yeah. We're going to start seeing weird things like that pop up. So. Yep. All right. Last but not least, some optimism about the last month. In February, Meta, otherwise known as Facebook, completed a historic 20-day win streak. So essentially what that is, the stock traded positive for 20 consecutive trading sessions, which ranks among one of the longest streaks in the history of the S&P 500, which goes back quite some time. So definitely a really positive thing that happened recently. Meta has recently proposed some investments into artificial intelligence, that whole realm, pretty significant investments that investors are pretty optimistic about, which really drove that stock price. So again, Meta, historic run in the month of January into February.
Cool to see. Yeah. Cool to see. This would be the Florida news story of the month segment, but breaking news, we tried hard to find any crazy story from Florida from the month of February and could not find one.
That is the Florida news story. Is nothing crazy happened in February, at least that we could find. So if you're out there and you are, keeping your pulse on Florida news and you found something crazy, please send it to us, because we can't find anything. Yep. So sorry to disappoint you, but yeah. So, with that, I just want to remind you that nothing we said today is advice or a financial recommendation. But if you have any questions about your personal situation, give us a call at 419-425-2400, or you can email us at hello@hzcapital.com, and we would love to chat. Until next time, Chase Rose, Jordan Shaw. See you guys later.